Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another weekly edition of Timeout Talks, which is brought to you by Chase and Thrills custom t-shirts and accessories, and is also sponsored by the Ice Shaker, the only bottle you will ever need. Go buy your custom Timeout Talks apparel via www.chaseandthrills.com, and you guys can purchase your Ice Shakers at www.iceshaker.com. As always, we are streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. So feel free to tune in on any of those platforms. We've got a lot of stuff today, Ben. We've got the comments already rifling in. So here's Rob. Rob is back. His comments show it was a short-lived thing. We didn't block you. I don't know what happened with that. So we've also got Sean in the comments here from Twitch. Nice. I always love seeing those Twitch comments. But as I was saying, we've got a lot to kind of dive into. We got the UFC 278 recap. Leon Edwards with the stunning finish there, taking down Kamaru Usman, the defending champ. We're going to get you guys a little bit later into the show into the NFL training camp. We're going to give you our Timeout Talks inside looks. I know the Patriots have had quite the training camp in terms of injuries, fights, everything in between. There's also some MLB stuff going on. Red Sox Orioles just completed the Little League World Classic game. Unfortunately, didn't work out too well for the Red Sox fans. Yankees were slumping, but they're kind of getting their moto back, so that's glad to see. And we're also in a little bit in the middle of the show. We are going to get to some big news within the NBA. So we've got it all. Another diverse week within Timeout Talks, but actually, I was going to say let's start it off talking the UFC, but hey, I got to go in here and say thank you to Nick DeVosta for the happy belated Josh comment. Birthday? Happy belated Josh. So thank you, Nick, for your kind wishes. Birthday was pretty good, so... but other than that, Ben's more of the UFC guy. Obviously, I'm trying to get more into the UFC, but even I know the magnitude of that knockout. Leon Edwards knocking out the champ, one of the most dominant UFC fighters in the last, how many years? 5 years in Usman? I mean, that was a stunner for me, even a casual fan. But Ben, walk us through a little bit of like how big of an upset that is.
I mean, Josh, it was over. It was over. Giving you a betting perspective too. I mean, he was plus 1,400 live in that final round. I can't even imagine what he was going in that final minute. If you're kind of looking at that, you really that's the only way he wins that fight, Josh. Literally, he's got to just submit him or knock him out. He's lost everything else. It was Usman's fight again. Sam Ward coming in here finally got slumped. Listen, everyone's got to eventually lose and everything. I didn't want to see Usman fall. I didn't want to see Usman fall. I wanted to see him sort of solidify himself as the best fighter with that win, best sort of pound for pound fighter with that win. It was a little disappointing. And Sam coming in there with that other good fact, first person to take him down. I mean, to have a takedown on Usman, that was wild. But besides that takedown, I mean, Usman was controlling that fight. That was his fight. And he just got knocked out. It was one of the more shocking, probably the most shocking, besides the upset to Nunez, obviously, from Pena, Josh. But that was the most most surprising and biggest upset that I've ever seen since then. I mean, shout out to Leon Edwards. Now you wonder who he's going to fight. That's now is interesting, obviously. Rob's back. Hey, listen, we're going to figure out who Rob is in love with, too. From that Dylan comment. That's a little intriguing, but listen, Rob, we're gonna get to your Lakers too. Oh, I forgot about that. He said, I'm done. We're gonna get to the Lakers too, throwing a lot of money at LeBron. I don't know if I agree with that one. Yeah, well, hey, Sam, I gotta give you that one. Yeah, Khabib is the GOAT. Everyone see now we're getting this rolling with UFC, Josh. I love this UFC talk coming in here. But yeah, no, Khabib's the GOAT. I was just saying right now, we gotta give it to Usman right now, but obviously, now probably give it to Volkanovski as the best fighter pound for pound right now. Then Izzy. But I mean, that was just a great fight. Great card all the way through the early prelims too, Josh. And now we're looking forward to some of these great UFC's we're spoiled right now if you're UFC fans. You got the Hazmat fight against Nate Diaz, I believe, on the next one. That's loaded up. Then you got Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley. Uh, you got a nice fight night in a couple of weeks. Tai Tuivasa against Saragon, nice little heavyweight fight. So then you got a possible John Jones return. That's UFC 282. That's up in the air right now, but I was doing a little more research on it. Still a little questionable, but that's where he's slated to return, Josh. So if you're a UFC fan, you're pretty excited right now.
Oh, 100%. In our chat, in our little group chat that we had going on, it was kind of in the middle. Like a lot of people were kind of happy to see the champ falter. Some people were not so happy. I kind of like Usman. I don't know Leon Edwards much at all. Like I said, a casual UFC fan, not super into it, trying to get into it. But like you said, the Pena upset was huge. I think this one's definitely had the UFC, fandom kind of erupted. So I think, like I said, I didn't watch the card too much. I am excited to see Sean O'Malley fight next. I'm happy to see Nate Diaz back in the octagon, even though I'm not too fond of him. I'm not the biggest fan. And hey, I'm waiting to see what my guy Dustin Poirier is going to do. I know there's been a little bit of trash talking back and forth between him and some other guys. I'm pretty sure him versus Michael Chandler is either in the works or that is like going to happen. Like that is confirmed. So that's another fight I'm looking forward to. Yeah, that'd be a great fight. So I don't know. A lot moving forward with the UFC, but like Ben said, he kind of carried the load for that one. So, but again, even a casual fan and somebody who didn't watch the card knows the magnitude of Leon Edwards' stunning victory there. So, congratulations to him. And I think just moving forward, even as a casual UFC fan and from some of the avid UFC fans, I think they want to see more. You know, I know James kind of was clamoring about the fact that Usman has a repertoire. He has a, list of opponents that he's taken down. Some people saying, oh, this is Edwards' first big fight win. So, like I said, I'm not the UFC guy. Don't kill the messenger, but I know that that's kind of been some of the thoughts being floated around for that. Let's just catch up with some comments here before we move on in the show. We've got Rob coming in. I mean, he's shot out of a cannon, this guy. He's excited to have the comments back. He's saying, Usman taking the L made my night. Scooby coming in here. Happy birthday, kid. Thank you, Scooby. Always a pleasure to have you in the podcast. Scooby's back. Scooby, you got to stay around for the training camp stuff because I'm very curious to see what his thoughts on some of what the Patriots are going on about. And you heard some things about Kendrick Bourne that have me raising my eyebrows a little bit that I didn't really want to hear as a
those Pats wideouts, Josh.
Even as a neutral, those Pats wideouts are falling like flies. So we'll get to that a little bit later. Rob coming in with a bold take. O'Malley about to win his next fight, 100 on it. Ooh, that's another one.
We're gonna have to hold him to it, Josh, on that one. That can make him some good money, though. I mean, O'Malley's a big dog against Peter Yan, Josh.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I personally lean towards Yan. I don't know. Again, I feel like it's one of those things. I know the Leon Edwards. Like I said, I don't have the in-depth analysis of the UFC, but I do know that O'Malley's first ranked fight went to a no contest. So I'm going to take Yan, who is the experienced fighter in that one. So Rob throwing around $100 like it's nothing. We got Charlie. Yep, Usman would smoke him in a rematch. That was kind of some of the stuff going on in our chat as well, Ben, was if they had a rematch, it's basically Usman's going to win. So I guess people were kind of saying that Edwards kind of caught him slacking there, caught him slipping. And we got Scooby. Here we go. I got a film session at 7:30, but I'll try. So try to come back in. We'll keep you in here for as long as we can.
Go study that film, Scooby.
Yeah, study that film, man.
That's the most important thing, Scooby. Whatever that is, I believe it's the rugby, so I believe that's what's going on. So just study that film, Scoobs. But listen, Josh, I'm the casual fan too. I like how he's giving me the expert role, but don't worry, I'm not too much. Me and Josh are just some casual guys out here. I've just happened to catch a lot more of them. And Sam bringing up another one too, Islam versus Oliveira. That's going to be another great fight, another huge fight for that division going forward. Oliveira, obviously, Islam's, I believe he's undefeated. I don't know. I got to double check on that one, but that's just another one, Josh. So if anybody else wants to get into UFC, I suggest get into it right now. It's a huge slate upcoming. Saturday nights, you can buy the pay-per-views or you can find another way to stream it. I suggest buying them. It's a little easier, but you do your thing. But great time to get into UFC.
100%, 100%. Hey, that's why I'm trying. I got people like Tyler, I got people like you, I got people like James, a bunch of my other friends who are super into the UFC. Rob, Pat's Nation are going to be lucky if they even get 5 wins. I heavily disagree with that. Like I said, we'll get to some of the football stuff later. But I do want to touch up on this as a fellow Cambridge Ringe and Latin alumni. I hope this is true, Scooby. I hope that Cambridge goes to win a state championship this year. I literally don't even think that they have been in the playoffs for like over 20 years. I could be wrong on that, but from my last recollection, I know Cambridge football has been very, very bad. So I hope maybe Scooby was the spark that they needed on the coaching staff. So I'd love to see that. And Rob, I have heard that Cam LeBlanc, we got to get him on to talk some UFC. That's in the works. He is a big UFC guy, so maybe we'll make that happen. And Scooby saying he made the playoffs. I didn't even know that. I thought
I thought you guys were good at football. I thought
back in the day. I mean, way, way, way back when James was playing for Waltham High, but I don't remember Ringe making the playoffs in my 4 years there. Maybe Scooby played for the goddamn team, so I could be wrong, but I know within the last call it 5 or 6 years, I mean they were struggling to get a win. But Scooby, I don't want to bash on them, but again, hopefully you're right. Hopefully this is the final turning of the chapter there for Cambridge football. So keep us updated on that.
We whipped them into shape, Josh.
Yeah,
that's what happened. Don't worry.
He's bringing the energy that they've needed for the past 5 to 6 years. Scooby, look that up. I really don't. I did not know that they made the playoffs.
Watch out for Waltham.
Oh, are they good again?
No, I don't know. I think we had. I was about to say, you got to throw that one out there, but I actually have no clue. Yeah, I got no clue with them. Yeah, not really. I think we had to go down the division to not play some of your some of that competition.
Cambridge did too. I'm pretty sure Cambridge did too.
Scooby can correct us on that one, but tough. It's tough right now.
Definitely. Speaking of tough, we're going to switch things up here. We're going to talk a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Rob's here. What's a joke? All right, we're going to switch it up. We're going to talk some baseball. My Yankees are finally back and going. One thing that has me a little upset, though, Ben, is the Yankees right now. You just look at the conference. They're a couple games behind the Astros. They had this 10 game cushion that all of a sudden got shrunk. Just looking at the wild card right now, the Red Sox are also 6 games back. So I believe a week ago they were 4.5 games. So that's even added a little bit. Still in the hunt there. They added the 3 teams. In their last 10 games, they're 6-4. Yankees 4-6. Just quick thoughts here, Ben. I know we're kind of repeating ourselves here with baseball, but we're at that point where, it's the home stretch. And kind of the biggest thing out of baseball right now that I can think of is Walker Buehler just went down. And like I said, the Yankees were slumping, but hopefully they're coming back around now.
Yeah, nice little back-to-back wins against the Mets for, I think, the first back-to-back time you guys won a game, sort of 7 games in a while. So that was huge for the Yankees. I was going to say, I thought you were going to transition. You said tough. I thought you were going to transition into the Red Sox. It's been pretty tough right now. It's pretty much over. I know I keep saying it, and like Josh has mentioned.
Over.
Yeah, it's just, it's pretty much over. And we're getting to this baseball mode where we're just kind of checking standings and stuff. But I mean, listen, this is what baseball is sometimes. Once we get to this point in the season, I should say, now, especially with his other wild card spot, we're always in the hunt. Like Josh mentioned, 6 games back. I was hoping that this Orioles series was going to go a little different. I was hoping it was going to springboard us into These next couple series, I believe we have the Blue Jays and Rays, which is going to be huge for that wild card. It could have been a huge sort of stepping stone for us, which still can be. But I just don't think so. This pitching's pretty rough, Josh. I don't know what's going on there. Just getting back to the Yankees, and I'll wrap it up with the Yankees and give it to Josh for anything else. But listen, I mean, he doesn't have anything to worry about there. They're fine right now. They're gonna start finding their groove and everything. If I was a Yankees fan, I'm looking at it as all right. You hit your little skid on a part of the season where it's not too important. Let's sort of end the season on a hot streak, on a hot note and streak. And they're doing that right now. It's just a little tough. If I was a Yankees fan too, just be a little concerned. If those double digits leads did shrink, like you said, Josh mentioned the Astros coming back. I mean, Blue Jays and Rays, that division lead was about like 10 to 12 to 15 games at one point from the second place. Now, the Rays are 8 games back, and the Blue Jays are only 8.5. A lot of AL East baseball to be played so far for this division still, so those games can be made up. So Yankees just got to watch out for that. But I think overall they'll be fine. You go through your little skid right now. They still got the bats. Benintendi's going. Benintendi's looking good for them over there. I know they've had some outfielding problems, but I think they'll get over it. Judge just snapped his 9-game home run streak. So, oh man, you're gonna have to just get another home run streak for him. But as long as you got Aaron Judge in lineup healthy, ready to go, I think the Yankees are gonna be fine. And then Scooby, just going back to the Red Sox. I'm gonna go back and forth, flip flop with them. Yeah, I mean Bloom's doing what he does best. Bloom, doing what he wants. Let's see if it works out. You put a lot of faith into what he's doing, and it's worked out for the most part. But let's see if not paying these guys is going to pay off in the long term. I'm not too certain about that, so I'm a little worried right now. But let's try to win some of these series, Josh. But not looking good.
Couldn't agree anymore with Scooby and you. I don't like Bloom anyways. I don't think I think it's a match in heaven for John Henry because he knows Bloom is gonna be, they're not making any big market splashes. Everything's affordable. They're trying to, play close to the cap here. They're not trying to go crazy in the luxury tax. They're going away from the Dave Dombrowski era where he kind of blew things up, got huge contracts, was just in win now mode. You look at Chaim Bloom, you look at what he did with the Rays. He built them up through the farm system, as we've talked about. The Red Sox, again, have a pretty decent farm system. I know some of these guys, like Jarren Duran, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Brian Bayo. I'm blanking on the first baseman and the third baseman.
Frenchie?
Frenchie Cordero, who came in the trade for the Andrew Benintendi, but then Bobby Dalbec. He's kind of a strikeout or nothing. I mean, a home run or nothing type of guy. But overall, I agree with Sam. I think Bloom definitely screwed the Red Sox. I don't understand the Christian Vasquez trade. I know we've kind of talked about this before, but they bring in the Reese McGuire guy who's already got a weird, sketchy, backstory to him anyways. But besides that, Christian Vasquez on a contract here, playing well. I think he would have been opted to stay for a fairly contract-friendly deal. Again, I think the Red Sox do have the talent, and I've never strayed away from this, to make a wild card push. As Ben mentioned, though, it's getting really close to done, if not done. You're 14 and a half games back in the division. You're 6 games back of a wild card spot, while other teams are starting to get hot now. It's looking unlikely, and this is what they do. This is exactly what they do. They go from first to worst, first to worst, first to worst in the last 10 years. So don't be surprised if they make a good little run next year, but as long as they got Chaim Bloom in there, and as long as John Henry just continues to rack in the money in terms of ticket sales and stuff like that, he's not going to care. And he's not going to care about what anybody thinks about how well the team does, as long as they're consistent and they put butts in the seats. But, to the Yankees, I do have some concerns. I think the starting rotation's been a little shaky from guys like Montas have been bad. Or he's kind of come around a little bit, but you got Domingo Germán still in the rotation. he's just not ready. I still don't understand the Jordan Montgomery trade. They bring in Bader. He's not even ready to play yet. You also went out and got Andrew Benintendi, another outfielder. You have Giancarlo Stanton coming back, who can play the field and be a DH. It just didn't make any sense to me at all. But I think they'll be fine. I think the big issue and the big glaring elephant in the room is, can they beat the Houston Astros? No Yankees fan wants to talk about it. They want to push it away. I don't think they can. I'm going to be completely honest based off what I've watched. I have faith once the playoffs roll and they get here. Of course, I'm going to support the Yankees, and I have the faith that they can make a championship run. But they've got to show me that they can do so, and that would be doing like Ben said, finishing the season off on a strong note. So, like Ben also mentioned as well, baseball season right now, it's in a tough spot. You know, football's coming back. There's a bunch of basketball drama being tossed out there for fans and stuff like that to kind of just clickbait stuff. The Kevin Durant, he probably wasn't even leaving. You know, the reporters just got to keep up with the NFL. But we'll get to that, and we'll actually probably get to that next. But overall, I think just going back to what Ben said a couple months ago, watch out for the Baltimore Orioles to make a spot. I think they're 2.5 games back of that third spot right now. You got teams like the Mariners that are fun to watch. So, again, right now, I'm not going to stray away from the fact that the Yankees probably will win the division. Like Ben mentioned, Blue Jays and Rays are they're gaining traction here in terms of the standings. But I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried about the bigger picture and how far the Yankees will go. So, all we can do is hope.
Yeah, like Josh was mentioning, right? They're just some more exciting teams to watch this year than the Red Sox. Unfortunately, Josh mentioned the Mariners, Orioles. My team, the Orioles, right there. I told everybody watch out. Nice little fun young team. Blue Jays got nice roster. They're a nice lineup, I should say. That's a heavy hitting team. People like Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Matt Chapman. That team is fun to watch over there. George Springer. Rays, they're always consistent. Yeah, they got plenty of talent over there. Still, I got to wonder about that Wander Franco one. And then Sam, Cardinals. That's a good team right there. Hey, listen, I always love my Cardinals. Little fun team. Pujols. Watching that home run tracker. He's trying to pass A-Rod. I think he needs about 4 more homers to pass A-Rod for 4th all time. That's a fun team to watch out there in the NL. But this is just, like Josh mentioned, first to worst. It's the worst year. So we're in last. You gotta just suck it up. This is what the team does. Unfortunately. I don't know if looking at Scooby's one, if he's afraid we'll lose Cora. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll lose Cora because of Bloom. Hopefully not. I don't think that would happen, but that'd be a shame to see. I love Cora as our manager. It's one of the only good things we got going right now. But it's just not the Red Sox year, unfortunately, Josh.
It's one of those things, the first to worst. It just kind of happens. Speaking of first to worst, the Los Angeles Lakers, 2020, they had their bubble run. Then they lost to the Suns. Then they didn't even make the playoffs last year. They were able to kind of make some interesting news because there was a little bit of ruffling the feathers going on there in LA with LeBron. What's he going to do? They were able to re-sign LeBron James to a 2-year, $97 million extension with the 3rd-year player option. So in the 3rd year, he has the option to opt out. So basically a 3-year deal. Ben, I kind of seen it coming. I figured he would stay. Where else is he really going to go? I know the highly touted thing that's kind of, in terms of LeBron James, has been, what's going to happen with Bronny James, his son, and which team he's going to go to. Maybe he follows him. Maybe the Lakers are trying to figure out a way where they can draft him, because I do not believe he is a top 5 pick in terms of looking way out. I could be wrong on that. But there's no chance. Yeah, I was going to say. So there's a slight chance the Lakers could draft him in terms of where they land and how far they go. But they were able to get back arguably the greatest player of all time in LeBron James, 2 years, $97 million deal. Ben, do we like the deal for the Lakers or do we not like the deal for the Lakers? I know that's a Tough hitting question there.
Tough hitting question right there, Josh. No, I love it. I love it. I don't like the deal for him. I'm glad we got Rob finally back in here. The Lakers fanboy, the Lakers guy. He loves them. But this is just an awful deal for him. He's got a player option for 2024-25 season. So just in case they stink, he'll be leaving. You can get out of there right there. So I mean, listen, for LeBron, this is a great contract. I mean, 97 mil. Like I mentioned, that player option gives you that flexibility to leave. I just want to get that out the way. Make sure, hey, listen, LeBron's a savvy businessman. Him and Maverick Carter, they got a great thing going on over there. He got his money, but for the Lakers, I think this is awful. I mean, you really needed sort of a team friendly deal. Like even James Harden, you saw him take one with the Sixers to help them just sort of replenish that roster. And you would have thought LeBron would have more than happy to sort of do that. I mean, he's a billionaire. He's already got plenty of money. Sort of take a team friendly deal and sort of help replenish this Lakers roster, which they need. I mean, you've got Russell Westbrook's contract that they still got to deal with. So that sort of limits trade options and everything. They just still got all of these contracts over there. They're just eating up money, and you give them this extension, kind of limits you what you can do. You don't have the most draft picks either. So kind of tough for this move. I don't know what Rob's Lakers are doing with that. You need to spread that money out. I thought LeBron would have seen that, but I guess not. I mean, hey, I think that player option is the most important thing. I think he's probably gonna leave Josh. Then I don't think the Lakers are gonna get any better now to that point. So I mean, he's gonna go wherever Bronny gets drafted. Like you said, I mean, yeah, he's a 3-star recruit right now. Heading into college, gonna be wherever he goes. So I mean, he's not the highest ranked guy out there. I mean, you never know. 3-star guys can turn to something, but not looking too good for his just getting drafted by a high pick team. So LeBron's got plenty of options where to go. So I think that's what that player option's for, and it's a tough look for the Lakers and Rob right there.
I'm waiting for him to come in the comments, say something. Just
So I keep piling on.
a nice little food for thought here. Last year, LeBron James only played 56 games out of the 82, averaged 30 points though in those 56 games. So definitely
Yeah.
want to say he played up to the money last year. The year before that, only 45 games, 67 games. I know in between there the bubble, so there wasn't that many games played. But so longevity's been quite the run for LeBron James, but also time management and load management has also been quite the concern. Looking forward with LeBron James, I like the deal. 30 points last year in the span of 56 games. That's still a great sample size. I know he didn't play every game, and I think a lot of that was because of how bad they were last year. I do have my concerns with the Lakers moving forward, but as well, I think that you kind of had to make that deal. He's the greatest basketball player of all time, in my opinion. When he's out there, he makes players better around him. You look at the production that they have with and without him, it's just unbelievable. Anthony Davis isn't carrying the team. Russell Westbrook, we've seen that. Hasn't been quite the ride there. So I like it for the Lakers, but I do have to side with Ben in the fact that I don't think that they're going to win a championship anytime soon. I think none of those guys are going to work out, all three of those guys together next year, even though they didn't play many games last year together. So I will give them the benefit of the doubt with that. But my gut, my Celtics fandom, my just reality, they're probably not. Maybe I'll even say they're maybe 6 through 8 in terms of like where they land for the seeding if they're lucky. It's just depending on LeBron James is how many more years of this longevity, which I do not want to demean by any any standards here, but I don't. The West, with how great it is, the Nuggets are going to be rejuvenized. You've got the Golden State Warriors fresh off of a championship run. Even the Blazers got a little bit better. Who else? I'm blanking. The Suns are still going to do their thing. Even the Jazz. That's one of the Lakers' killers in terms of last year. I'm forgetting about the Dallas Mavericks as
I was about to
well.
say I was going to throw the Mavericks in
Yeah, the
there. I didn't. I thought you
Mavericks.
might have said that one. There's yeah, there are plenty of Lakers, plenty of teams in front of them in the West. It's unfortunate for LeBron, but
And yeah, Charlie O'Donnell, Lakers will be just as bad this year. No point in taking the pay cut. Yeah, I mean, might as well just get his money. He's gonna do his thing. He's gonna average, I'll say, above 25 points a game at his age. That's still very good. I think if you're averaging over 25 points a game, you're pretty much an all star. Like you are top tier in the NBA, even lower top tier. So I have no problem with his production. I just don't know how well the team's going to be because he gutted everything out to kind of win in the bubble year. But that's a big thing. Big thing. LeBron James staying in LA, and one of the other great basketball players, great basketball players who the Celtics were looking at, Kevin Durant. After all the sweepstakes, all the trade talks, all this stuff with Jaylen Brown and this and that, and as I mentioned a little bit earlier on the show, probably just kind of bait, just Twitter bait. Woj announced today that Kevin Durant will stay in Brooklyn. They do not have any trade plans to trade him at this very moment. I know that whole story came out about him buying a house in Boston. That none of that ended up ever coming to fruition there. But Ben, I can't say I'm not surprised because I don't really see where he would have landed. I think Boston would have been one of the best suitors. I know people were talking about the Phoenix Suns as well. I like it for Durant. I mean, I don't know. It's the same thing with the Lakers. It's just when are the Kyrie and him? Can they coexist? They can coexist, but are they both gonna be on the floor at the same time? And for how long? They're both mental cases. It's just a recipe for disaster. But then again, Kevin Durant is probably one of the best players in the world, so of course you want to keep him on your team, and especially you don't want Kyrie Irving leading the show by himself if you're a Nets fan. So
no, you don't.
If I'm a Nets fan, I'm definitely pushing the panic button, but I will say I feel a little bit better with KD coming back. I'll go off on a limb and say they maybe, if they're lucky, are like a 5th or a 6th seed. Again, the East has been really good. We'll see what Philadelphia can do, but Kevin Durant, according to Woj, is staying in Brooklyn.
Yeah, can't tell if Lewis is happy or excited by it, happy or angry with that move by those emojis. Look at that. Maybe you can expand on that one. But I mean, for the Nets, I'm gonna have to agree with Josh on that. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of complacent right now. Hey, I agree with that, Scooby too. Come on, the Nets. They never beat Boston. Yeah, let's on that home court. I agree with that, Scooby. Come on, let's go, Lewis. But no, I mean, this deal's good for them right now. Keeps them in the running, keeps them. I mean, if you really lost KD, then probably have to get rid of Kyrie, start fresh. But it's good for basketball too. Good for the NBA. Keep Brooklyn good. Keep Brooklyn in contention. Like Josh was mentioning, I guess. I mean, that the Suns was actually one of my favorite teams for him to go to. I thought that would have been nice. Maybe if you just get DeAndre Ayton out of there, but now they just did it with the opposite. They're going to keep Ayton. So KD will not be going there. And mentioning Boston, Boston definitely had the best assets to give him, but thank God we didn't send him over there. I did not want to lose Jaylen Brown. Maybe Marcus Smart. Listen, if they want Marcus Smart and a couple other guys and all these picks, I would have given them, but no Jaylen Brown in that one, and that's what they wanted. They wanted either Brown or Tatum. We're not giving up that. No way would I ever do that trade for Durant. So thank God we didn't do that one. If we did do that one, I don't know. I might have to question my Celtics fanship. I don't know. I don't know if I could live with that one, Josh. But this one's good for Brooklyn. Like we were saying, we're not pushing. You're not pushing the panic button now. You kind of you're easing up right now. You're looking at the season. You got Kyrie, you got KD back, you got your cornerstones. Ben Simmons still hanging around. I don't know what he's doing. He's got to get. I mean, he's got to get healthy at some point. So I mean, I like him a lot as a player when he's healthy. He's got his head on straight. I like that defensive presence he can do. He can give you now, and I really do believe he would be fit well on the offensive side with KD and Kyrie, so it'd be interesting to see that pairing. They got some other players around there still, uh, but so I'm not going to go too excited. I'm not going to get too excited for them. You still got the Celtics, Bucks, Heat ahead of them. So like Josh mentioned, I've seen 4 to 6 range. I give them a fourth seed, to 6 range. So still not getting into upper echelons, but I mean, this move, if you're a Nets fan, you're happy with this one. I would say.
I'd say the same as well. Overall, as a Nets fan, you're not like jumping up around and throwing parades like you were when they first came to the team. You seen last year they got swept. There's just the chemistry. There's some issue. Those two are not on the same page. It's two of the same type of characters clashing. I don't think they really have the depth. They made a lot of trades and shipped out a lot of pieces to bring in James Harden. That definitely didn't work. And I agree with Lewis. I've never strayed away from this as well. I think both of us on Time Out Talks felt the same way. We like KD.
Yeah.
We know he's one of the best scorers in the league, if not of all time, just pure scorers. But again, I'll take our roster over one guy. I like some of the moves that the Celtics made. And Scooby coming in, Kyrie gets rattled when he lands in Logan. I agree with that one. And Charlie O'Donnell, you think Jason Tatum injury is legit or a cop-out? I think a little bit of both. I do think there's a little bit of, realistics to the fact that, dating back to even last year and the year before, this guy has just been constantly grinding, playing from the Olympics back to the basketball season to working out for the basketball season to back into the season again. Long playoff run, a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I do think that wear drove him down a little bit, and he quite isn't ready to be that guy, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt. He's still young. They've still had a lot of success at a very young age as well, and I think a lot of people forget that. But I think I really think it's a loaded question there from Charlie. I personally want to say I lean a little bit more towards the cop-out, but I'm personally not. I'm kind of over the Tatum slander. I was all on him during the season and during the finals. He definitely went missing, and there were some times that Jaylen Brown had to carry the load, and the turnovers and the hands in the air to the refs definitely showed a little bit of immaturity. But just, again, I think if you look at the Celtics and you look at Jason Tatum, I think it really just leans more to the fact that those guys weren't ready. They're playing a team who arguably, in my opinion, is a dynasty. They've won 3 or 4 championships in the last however many years, 6 or 7 years. That's an accomplishment in its own. So I don't think that they were ready. And yeah, I think maybe his body was worn down a little bit, if you want to count that as an injury, but I do think it leans a little bit towards a cop-out. And like I said, that's not a knock on Jason Tatum. I don't think some of the guys were ready for that spot. And I think moving forward, though, there is a lot to be optimistic about as a Celtics fan. I almost said Cowboys fan.
Hey, both fans, Josh. Come on, don't slight the Cowboys. A lot of optimism still for the Cowboys. They bounce back. That second preseason game, we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We'll get there in a second. Don't worry, we'll get to that preseason talk. Listen, not the real games, but these are important games just to get a little test of what everyone's looking like out there, get a little sense of what everybody. But yeah, I just want to echo that from Lewis too and Josh on that one. Yeah, we got to take our roster over KD or over one player in that scenario too every day. I love this roster, especially the additions of Brogdon and Gallinari in the offseason. I think that really still puts us at the top and solidifies that spot. So yeah, listen, love KD. I think he's one of the greatest scorers I've ever seen, sort of in my lifetime too. Josh was mentioning that as well. But it's just personally one of my favorites too. Just love him out there ever since his Texas days. But listen, I'm all good with that. I love this roster. I'll take that. But asking us those loaded questions. I think it's legit. I'm gonna go legit right there for Tatum. Josh said it perfectly too right there. The slander's kind of over right now. That was a dynasty team. That Warriors team is, up there with the Bulls dynasties and sort of what LeBron's done with the Cavs, and the Lakers and the Celtics dynasties. And we went toe to toe with them. It was just, in the moment, it was a little bit more disappointing because, I thought we really had it. We really had a shot at sort of upsetting them and taking that crown from them. And that would really been an achievement for this team early on in their sort of careers over here in Boston. That would be, a heck of an accomplishment doing that. But we couldn't get it done. And they showed us why they're the best of all time and why Steph Curry's, one of the best of all time. So nothing to hang your hats on about that one. I've kind of calmed down after that one. I'm still a little upset, Jalen, for some of those drives and everything, but we can all take a step back and realize what they did for us during that amazing run. And Josh mentioned too. I mean, Tatum's been playing since the Olympics. He's been playing nonstop basketball. Eventually, he's just going to give out. Eventually, something would happen. He'd get an injury or just fatigue would come in. So we saw that. I'm not gonna say it was a cop out. I think it was legit. We just got tired and we just ran into one of the best teams of all time that we've seen. So I'm gonna say it's legit from Tatum. I'll hold off on the Celtics slander. Yeah, I mean that would be perfect time for the Scooby video right there. And that video gets me pumped up every time. I love that, and that sort of epitomizes what that run was. Everybody rallied around them. I think we forgot about that. Because like I said, I mean, we got pretty close to being the Warriors, and that's a hell of an accomplishment. So, I'm gonna say it's legit, just to answer the question. No more Celtic slander. Not yet, Josh. Not yet. Wait till they give us some more slander.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad we're keeping. Hey, and I think even just back to the Celtics slander, let's give Brad Stevens a little bit of appreciation.
Yeah.
They're keeping the band together. They went out, they made some good moves. I really like the Brogdon move. I know people talk about the injury concerns and everything. When he's out there,
That's
you're going
my
to get
guy.
the production. Looking on the curses, though, you never know. The IT thing, not the IT. Kemba Walker didn't really work out. Hayward didn't work out. You had Evan Fournier didn't really work out. Whatever. I think it's going to work out for Brogdon. Gallinari, I think he'll be good offensively. Defensively, I'm a little worried, but he's not here to do that. So, yeah, like Ben said, enough with the Celtics slander. But I do think that's a great question out of Charlie because that was kind of one of the biggest themes after the finals loss was, Jason Tatum hurt. He looks a little weird. I know he had the stinger and everything, which could be true. But I think the team is just faded out, worn down. The better team won. So we're getting to basketball season, a couple more months, so hang on tight. We got the football season, which is right on deck, and what we're going to actually roll right into right now. Take some size, Patriot fans. We're going to start off with you guys. I'm not straying away from the fact that I think they can. I got 10-7. We went down the list. I said 10-7. Malcolm Butler was placed on the IR. Some people thinking, or whatever you want to call injury reserve. Some people were thinking he wasn't going to make the team. I know James kind of got quick and defensive of that, saying, hey, he probably wasn't going to make the team. One of the biggest things, though, we're talking about the inside the training camp. Some of the big things that we've been hearing about. A little bit of slander on Kendrick Bourne. I know he's been having kind of a tough time in training camp, whereas the opposing thing, we've heard some very good things about Nelson Aguilar, some receiver who really struggled last year for the New England Patriots. But Tyquan Thornton, that hurts. Another standout in the training camp. He went down. I think they're expecting like 8 weeks for him to be back. But I think the biggest thing is the Kendrick Bourne. He was one of their bright spots last year in the receiving corps, which was, I said, going to be the epitome of them, the downfall. It showed in big moments, like against the Buffalo Bills. They just didn't have it. Mac Jones, rookie, not much depth. This year they got more depth. They went out and got Devontae Parker. They drafted a rookie. Like I said, they got Thornton. I know they've got a couple other standouts, whatever. It's preseason, like Ben mentioned. But the Kendrick Bourne thing has me very concerned. I hope it's just nonsense. We heard the nonsense from Jamar Chase, who was dropping balls last year. We're seeing the nonsense with Trevon Diggs. He's going to be fine. I think he's going to give up a lot of yardage this year, as he does. I think he's going to be one of those corners, but he's going to be fine. But the Patriots, I do say I have a little bit of an alert on because I know that one of my biggest skepticisms with the Patriots has been their receiving core. I've never strayed away from that. Last year, I thought that was kind of the downfall of them. And, you kind of just look at this team this year, you want to see them take that leap. So I think that's one of the biggest things in the training camp right now. I actually didn't know he was struggling till I think it was just about 2 days ago or even yesterday. But Ben, I still think they're going to be a playoff team, sneak in at the 7th seed. I know that's high optimism for somebody like you or Jared who says, oh, 7 wins is probably their ceiling. But Kendrick Bourne is got to turn it around if they do want a chance. As I said last year, and even as we've seen last year, he's one of their brighter spots. So I know within the Patriots training camp, that's kind of been a concern right now.
Yeah, a lot of concerns, Josh. Listen, Josh had a little more optimism. I've been sort of the Patriots hater. I had them at 8-9. Listen, with that extra game, listen, below 500. It's a tough AFC. Better AFC East get in there. This camp hasn't been too favorable for some of these wideouts. Lewis coming in there mentioning too. Isaiah Wynn hasn't had the best camp either. He's still waiting on him over there. But I mean, this is music to my ears for my predictions. With all the Patriots slander, listen, I mean, someone's got to step up in that wide receiver room. Lewis mentioned that Thorne's been looking like a dog out there, killing it, but he's been injured too. So, coming in with that size issues. You guys did draft it before George Pickens, and we got George Pickens 2 picks after that. I just want to say that. So thank you for the Pats fans for letting us take George Pickens. That was good. I forgot about Ty Montgomery too. Thank you, Scooby, for that one. I totally forgot they got him. So it's going to be interesting to see what they use with him. It's hopefully going to be a big role for him in the pass catching and the rushing game. Like I said, they just got to find out somebody that could be a standout guy for Mac. Is it going to be Aguilar, who's been having a good camp? Devontae Parker, the guy they brought in that's supposed to be in. People are thinking Bourne's just going to be there because he's been consistent last year, but seeing him already having some worries in camp, you don't know. It's just like Josh was mentioning, just sort of that Jamar Chase stuff, you got to see it out. I got to see it till I believe it out in the real field. So Patriots you got to figure out who's going to be the guy for Mac. Mac's going to take that next step. He's just going to have somebody throw the ball. He's going to have that consistent guy that he can go to. And I don't know where Devin what's that guy's name? Asiasi, whatever is there was supposed to be that tight end that they drafted Devin Ostier. Someone throw that one in there. I'm still looking for him. But the Patriots just struggling right now. I think they'll eventually listen. Bill Belichick's too good of a head coach. I think they'll find their way. Another thing, Josh, too, before I just let it go, I mean, you got to worry about that play calling, too, a little. Just in the back of it, not worry about it too much. But, I mean, like I said, it's Bill. He's the greatest of all time. I think he's the greatest coach in all the major sports. You got to trust him on that one. But I'm a little concerned with who's going to be making the play calls.
I couldn't agree anymore. I think that is the actual biggest question mark for the Patriots. Like I said, I know we talk about the Kendrick Bourne thing. We talk about Isaiah Wynn. I think he's getting way too much slander right now. Wynn, yes, he's had his injury concerns and yada, yada, yada. But I think in terms of the offensive line, it's going to be okay. It's not going to be the best. Tom Brady always didn't have the best. And I know I probably shouldn't have even brought that comparison because there's a difference between Mac Jones and Tom Brady, obviously. But in the New England system, they haven't had like a top 5 offensive line within the last 10 years. They've had some solid offensive lines, but that's not kind of what they breed behind. They've got a good running back room, solid secondary. I think that their secondary is solid. I know those 2 Jones guys have been kind of standouts in terms of if you want to talk about standouts, but I think they'll be okay. Charlie O'Donnell coming in with Jonnu Smith will rebound this year. That's another guy. You got to call on him. If you're a Patriots fan, you're calling on him. He's got to. You're paying him some big money there. You gave him a lot of guaranteed money too, which is the thing. I know some people will kind of say, "Oh, well, we're not actually paying him that much," but you gave him a lot of guaranteed money and incentives as well. So got to get him involved a little bit. We'll see how that works with Josh McDaniels leaving. I know he was kind of one of the biggest pieces in the Patriots coaching scheme. So we'll have to see. But one thing I also wanted to mention as well with the New England Patriots was Zappy got that nice. I think he's going to be a solid little backup there.
Yeah.
I know some people. It's one preseason game. He looked good in the second one as well. I think again, it's just putting all the pieces together as it is for every single football team. You can't read too much into the preseason, and that's why I'm not like freaking out for the Kendrick Bourne thing. I will say, like, if this was a personal message to him, I really hope he gets that figured out by the time the football season comes, because I do think he is one of their most important catalysts on the offense, especially in their receiving core. But we'll see. One of the biggest things, just kind of talking about the Dallas Cowboys here, we'll get to the Steelers. There's one thing I wanted to say as well, and it was Ben kind of beat me to the punch with George Pickens, arguably one of the best wide receivers in that draft class. He's absolutely been killing it. But one thing about Dallas I wanted to mention, watch out for Jake Ferguson for Dallas. He was a draft pick. We drafted him in the, I actually had to literally look it up, but it was the 129th overall pick in the draft. This guy has got a good frame, good blocker, good pass and catch guy. I'm telling you, I think complementing Dalton Schultz there, I think you're going to see a little bit of a two tight end scheme for Dallas, kind of similar to what the Pats did a while ago. So watch out for that one. I do want to say that. And I want to say one thing. I know we're talking about the New England Patriots. I think one of the biggest things within the Dallas Cowboys training camp is who's going to step up offensively for the receiving core. I completely forgot James Washington got hurt. I think you're looking at like midway through the season for him to be back. Again, I'm not straying away from my hot take. I said the Dallas Cowboys would trade for a receiver. Besides CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup's going to be out for the first probably 4 weeks of the season. You're looking at Jalen Tolbert, TJ Vasher, who might not even make the team. You're looking at Faco. I can't even pronounce his name. I don't really want to see him out there too much. So real depleted wide receiving core, and I think that's kind of been my biggest issue at Dallas is, we've kind of leaned on the defense a lot last year. We lost some players as well, and we lost a huge part of our offense in Amari Cooper. So moving forward, let's see what some of these guys can do. You talk about stepping up to the plate. At least the New England Patriots have a receiving core of guys who have done something. I mean, at least Devontae Parker had a 1,000-yard season. At least Jacoby Myers has been out there and can show he can actually run routes and catch balls. At least Nelson Aguilar had a solid season with the Raiders. Besides CeeDee Lamb, none of these guys are proven. Literally none of them. Faco has never played in a real game, I don't think, a full game. Vasher was somebody who literally, I think he was undrafted. He's just 6'6", so that's why. And Tolbert he's a rookie, the unknown there, and he's already got some issues catching the ball. So very concerned. I hope they prove me wrong. I really do. But that's kind of the biggest thing with the Dallas Cowboys inside the training camp. Who's going to be the guy to step up? And I will say, one little thing, as Ben mentioned a little bit earlier, Turpin. I hope we found a little bit of gem in the special teams, which would be great because we really struggled with that in the NFL the past 10 years. But I will say, I think it is Kavontae Turpin looked excellent. The XFL guy back in January said, NFL, give me a chance. He had a punt return this past week and a kick return for the Cowboys. I love to see that. So I don't think this guy is going to make a huge impact in terms of, pass catching, but I will say keep him in the special teams. Let it roll out. Let him start again. Let him start the whole freaking game next time. Let him take every punt return and every kick return, because that's at least something that we can look at to say, hey, maybe that's a bright spot. But in Dallas, Ben, or at least from what I've gathered in Dallas, in my thoughts about Dallas, it's push the panic button for the receiving core in the offense because there's just so many uncertainties.
Yeah, that Nick DeVos is coming in there about Kenny Pickett. We'll get to that about the Steelers in a second. That's the main concern. Main concern for all the teams right now. We had the Patriots wide receiver stuff, Cowboys wide receiver stuff, as Josh was just mentioning. The Steelers quarterback situation, but appreciate that, Scooby. Week two, we'll see Steelers Pats. We'll see who really sucks in that one. But she coming in there for Josh's wide receiver concerns. He could see Jerry Jones working something out with OBJ. Do you like that, Josh? Josh, would you be opposed to that, or you welcome that?
Oh my god, that would just be a wicked funny joke because my friends know I have harped on Odell Beckham for years now. I even had the Kenny Galladay stuff saying his production was better. That did not prove out to be wrong. I mean, that did not prove out to be right in my case. I doubt they do it. I think Jerry Jones is sold on the fact going into the season that he's got a young core. He even came out and said it. He wants to ride it out with these guys. He's not concerned. They gave Gallup a lot of money. I think you can guarantee that they make a move by the deadline or even next offseason at the very least. But I don't think that they're going to do anything going into the season. I think that they are dead set on their pieces in what they drafted. I disagree. I think you're going to see a lot of concerns again, and you're going to hear that, oh, Dallas can't do it all over again stuff. But I doubt it. I think that there is a 10% chance they sign OBJ. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I would be okay with doing it. I'd have to bite my tongue a little bit because I'm a Cowboys fan and I want to see the success, but I don't think that they're going to do it. They are dead set on their assets in the wide receiving room and what they've been able to draft, which blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if I was Cowboys fan, I'd be open to it. I don't have your previous history, Josh, with the Galladay OBJ debate, but listen, like you mentioned, Cowboys. I'd be willing to take anybody in that wide receiver room. It's not the best right now, but you don't know. You don't know who's going to emerge right over there, like Tolbert. Tolbert, I believe that's what we're talking about. Jalen. You never knew about him. I kind of like that guy. But to Steelers now. I mean, we're going to get to it eventually. I'll just wrap it up with this. Listen, I'm going to start Mitch right now, unless Kenny blows me away in the last two games. I know he's been good, been better than Mitch, but that last game was against the Jags too. So we got to factor that in. That wasn't against the Jags starters, so we got to put that one in there too. Listen, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I want him to be good. I just don't, yeah. I don't think he's going to be what everyone thinks he's going to be, but he's proving me wrong right now. So I'm excited with the progress, happy with it. But Josh, right now, I'm just ready to start Mitch week one at the Bengals. Probably going to lose to the Bengals. Pretty good. Bengals are the new sort of kings of the AFC North currently. You got to give it to them. Yeah, and reigning AFC champs. So I'm going to go with Mitchell start the season, Josh. Then, eventually ease Kenny into it.
I think that's the right move. I think see what Trubisky can do. They brought him in to be a bridge
Yeah.
guy anyways, just kind of took a flyer, see what can happen. I know there's a bunch of stats in terms of completion percentages and wins and losses, and he's brought the Bears to the playoffs, and this isn't me like throwing those away. So I do think that there is some truth to that. I think you've got a pretty good receiving core there. Claypool, Pickens is looking like he's going to be the steal of the draft. And of course, you have Deontay Johnson as well. Solid defense predicated around your defense. Good running back. I could see a solid season. Like I said 9-8. The AFC is just so hard, so I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers make it into the playoffs. But hey, like Ben said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they prove me wrong. But yeah, I don't think Kenny Pickett's quite ready yet. I think it's one of those things like a Trey Lance situation where, the franchise believes that they've got the diamond in the rough there. And when I say diamond in the rough, like, they were sold on him. It wasn't the first quarterback taken, but that's their guy. They want to groom him. They want to make sure he's ready to go. And I would do the exact same thing. Kind of similar to, trying to think, even what the Patriots did with Brady. I mean, I don't know. I'm blanking on guys. I know Baker Mayfield didn't start right away, or even Herbert. Excuse me, that was his situation.
Yeah.
They knew he was probably better than Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod gets hurt. Herbert comes in. He never loses the job. I think it's something like that. They don't want to make a big commitment yet. Don't throw him to the fire right away. I do think, though, there's going to be a situation where he does start this season, but I think ride it out with Mitch. You got the Mitchburg. So,
Mitchburg, right?
Mitch Berg, I think that's the smart move. Let Kenny Pickett learn under Mitch and the coaching staff. Let him get used to the NFL. Give him some pregame stuff, preseason stuff. I would even just sit or give Mitch Trubisky one drive and then do like the first maybe like quarters 2 and 3 and a little bit of 4 for Kenny Pickett. Give him a lot of experience and then sit him down. But I agree. Keep Mitch Trubisky there, and I'm telling you, I think George Pickens could be a nice little sleeper for fantasy. So
My guy,
that's
Josh.
it.
Watch out. We know how to
Uh,
draft wide receivers. That's all we. That's what we can do, Josh. I don't know how we do it, but we just find them any round and everywhere. So that's what we could do well.
100%. 100%. That's what they've been doing since they drafted Antonio Brown, since they've drafted, who else? Juju. The list goes on and on and on. Um, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Welcome in there, Pat from Twitch, joining in a little bit late there, getting us some of the Twitch emojis there. I like those.
Yes, that's what.
Scooby, we'll see you later. Hey, we're going to be
See
leaving
you,
at the same
Scooby.
exact time. Nick, he's saying he'll be starting game 1. He's ready. So I believe he's talking about Mitch Trubisky there. Maybe he thinks Kenny Pickett's ready.
I think he's talking about Kenny, but hey, listen, I'm fine with either.
Hey, as a Seahawks fan, you got to see a little bit of optimism there, and you got to be a little bit happy for the future there, especially seeing how Kenny Pickett's been doing. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, wouldn't be possible without you guys. As Ben mentioned last week, he's going to be coming back soon, so super excited for that. We've got some big things sort of in the works for the future.
We'll get
So
there.
some live
We'll get
shows,
there.
we can guarantee you that. But we'll get there. And as always, I'm going to turn it over to Ben.
Like Josh mentioned, excited to be back. Excited to be doing some stuff live with Josh soon. Don't worry, we'll be getting together, and hopefully we'll be seeing all of you. So it'll be good times, man. It'll be good over there.
Yankees don't
Uh,
stink, by the way. Had to throw that out there, Pat.
it's all right. Hey, it's all right. I was about to say we got to get that in there. Good job, Pat. Good job, Pat. Right there. Shout out to the people on Twitch too, man. You got to shout out them. Give a shout out to Josh too for making that happen for us, letting those people watch us out over there. So I give a little late happy birthday to him too, man. I already wished him happy birthday, but appreciate people giving him some birthday wishes too. Uh, it's tough, man. Football.
Think we lost Ben there. Just want to say thank you guys, as always, for tuning in, and see you guys next